Okay, well, welcome to another episode of Just Us Awesomer Hairdressers. Today, I'm going to be interviewing Rosina, correct?
Yes.
Where do you live, Rosina?
I live in Cincinnati, Ohio.
What got you in the hairdressing industry?
I come from a line of hairdressers. Actually started with my cousin when I was a little girl. It was just someone I looked up to, and wherever she went, whatever she did, I watched her. I went with her in the salon and watched her do perms and watched her cut hair. And then it was just something that came very natural to me. Starting as a young girl and doing everyone's hair, just friends and makeup and all that. And then right out of high school, I went to beauty school, and then the journey started from there. And
What
it's
beauty school
been,
did you go
I went to the International Academy of Hair Design, which
to? Okay,
does not exist anymore.
okay, so it was a little independent school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that up in Cincinnati?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was there for quite a few years, but the owner retired and sold the business, and I think it might be another beauty school now,
Sure.
but yeah, so
But
it was well known back.
what did you do after beauty school? So after you got out of beauty school, what did you do right away?
So there was a very prominent spa and salon that was kind of is well known and was well known in Cincinnati, that was like the place to work right out of school, and they didn't have openings for hair, so I was like, you know what, I'll just take whatever you have. I'm good at kind of doing everything. So she put me into nails and skincare, and then I kind of got stuck in that position. She she had said, when there's an opening for hair, I'll let you move over to do hair, but I got so busy doing skincare and nails that she didn't let me switch over to do hair.
Hmm.
So then from there, I went to another salon, and that's when I started my apprenticeship. And I did that for about a year and a half with a really busy hairdresser, which to this day I consider one of my mentors.
What,
She
what,
taught me everything I know.
what
Yeah.
was her name?
Her name was Sue Beck.
Okay, okay. And what salon was she at?
We were at Paragon Salon. There's three in the city still, that three spas in the city still to this day.
Okay, so you worked at Paragon Salon.
Yes.
For how long?
I was there for about 4 years.
Okay.
I've got quite a history because I started so young. As far as jumping around, and I could write a book for some of my experiences, good and bad.
Uh,
But that was one of my best experiences. It's where I learned all of my education, and like I said, the basis of the hairdresser that I am to this day.
okay. So skipping forward a little bit, what are you doing now?
So now I have a loft. I'm in
Okay.
a loft style setting.
Okay.
I've been there for 6 years,
Okay.
and I scaled it down to just hair and a little bit of makeup when I have time,
Okay.
and a little bit of waxing, facial waxing,
Okay.
add-on services, things like that.
And do you offer like full hair, obviously, like cut, color, texture services, all that kind of stuff?
Yes,
Okay.
I do not
Um,
do hair extensions.
okay. Okay. Cool. So what's going on? You had reached out to me after I said that I was no longer going to charge for pretty much anything. What's going on? What are your thoughts? What's going on in your life?
Well, something happened, I think, once I turned 45. It
Mhm.
was like I had this aha moment, like, what are you doing with your life? Not that not that I don't love what I do, but what are you doing with your life to make a difference in others' lives? Not just behind the chair. Like, how can you make a difference to make an impact in this world and to give back?
Mhm.
Um, and I work in a lifestyle setting with a well-known um, company, um, and I've always used their logo, always used, they have great marketing materials. They're a great company,
Uh-huh.
but I want to set myself apart. I've never had a logo. I've never had a brand, So my question into myself is what is your brand? What are you about? And, I've always been a little bit more quiet as far as like tooting my own horn. I'm
Mm.
not an in your face kind of person like that. I've worked with celebrities. I still, if they come through town, I do that, but I've never always, I've never been the kind of person to put it out there.
Sure.
So, I guess I just, I'm trying to rebrand myself and trying to figure out what that means. I know what my focus is behind the chair, and I want to make that my main focus and hone in on that. And like I said, also try to make a difference, particularly with women and young women. And how can I incorporate these things in my brand outside of the salon?
Okay. So, it kind of sounds like you just kind of need okay. So the number one question is branding, and what do you want to use the
Yeah,
branding for? Are you going to use it for social? Or are you going to like put it on business cards? Put it your name? I mean, like, what is the brand
all of that,
for? Okay.
all of that. And obviously, social media is huge. It's not something that I would say has always been my main focus until just a few years ago. It's something I have to get comfortable with. I'm not comfortable in front of the camera. I
Hmm.
love to be behind the camera. And so I know how to create beautiful work on print, and to make my pictures look pretty and, beautiful work. But do people really know much about me, as far as getting in front of the camera? And I spoke to a businesswoman last week, and she said, people want to know about you, you know, and like you asked me before, my history and what brought me to where I'm at right now. So I have to be a little more open with being open with people in that way. And I feel like I am a very private person, but with not sharing too much of um, my own personal stuff, but just professionally, um, making that my main focus.
Okay.
My other focus besides being behind the chair.
Okay.
Um,
And you said how long have you been at the studio again?
It'll be 6 years in April.
Okay. And when did you start thinking about this brand and like kind of branching out and whatnot?
This past year, like I
Okay.
said, after the big birthday,
Uh-huh.
it was like, okay, you've lived half of your life.
Hmm.
What are you gonna do with the next half?
Okay.
I have aging parents. Like, all of these things start to come into play when you think about what your future
Uh-huh.
holds for you. And how old am I going to be? Will I be standing behind the chair physically? How much is possible?
Yeah.
I try to take care of myself, as well as I can, exercising and, all of that. But physically, like, how much is what's going to be my capacity, to what
Yeah.
age?
Yeah. So, see, I had another question for you as well. What is your you're kind of going through this like crisis, which I get it because I've gone through it as well. Um,
Yeah.
what is your say 10-year, 5-year, 2-year goal? Like where do you see yourself? Like, and I know you're asking yourself, well, what do I do now? What do you dream about?
Oh, um, that's a good question. Someone else asked me that last week because I've just been meeting with other um, professionals that are, I would say, in my age group, put it that way,
Hmm.
um, with their history. And that's a good question because I really am not sure that I know the answer wholly. I know that I would like to counsel women, but obviously, I mean, I have a degree, but it's not in counseling. And I
Hmm.
think as hairdressers, we kind of feel like we're everyone's therapist in a way too. But I really do feel like that is something that's been tugging at my heartstrings, to help other women, particularly. We live in a society where I think mental illness is huge. And I think as hairdressers, we hear a lot of that, a lot of sadness. But I'm just trying to figure out how I can help people through their sadness to feel good about themselves, not only on the outside but on the inside. And that's where my journey is, just like, where am I going with this?
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, my wheels are in motion. So that's why I called you.
Okay.
um, and just, I really, really think things out before I follow them through. And um, I think one thing that I am very secure about now is following my intuition, where I didn't in my younger years. Like there was something that was in your gut telling you, like, hey, you should do this or you shouldn't do that. But now I follow that when it speaks to me. So I haven't heard anything yet. So,
So,
um,
do you see yourself counseling women and still maintaining being behind the chair, or do you see yourself maybe not necessarily being behind the chair in 10 years?
maybe
And there's no
not being
right or
behind
wrong
the chair.
answer. No what?
But it's hard for me to think about not doing hair because it's
Mhm,
all that I've ever known. You
mhm,
know, um, I also researched into volunteering at a women's shelter, um, but it's a huge commitment. So I have to have a real talk with myself, like how much time am I willing to commit to that,
mhm.
and will it take away from my career? But if that's what I want to do to help others, I feel like it would be a good way to build their self-esteem up as well. And maybe I can do stuff with my talent, you know, to help uplift women, not only emotionally, but um, on the outside with their appearance.
Yeah,
I think it's a loaded question with a
yeah.
loaded answer, I
Yeah,
know.
totally, totally. And see, I'm loving this because what's funny is you asked one question, but you're kind of delving into something completely different, and I kind of love
Yes.
that. And I
Yes.
kind of see where you're already at, so it's kind of nice. But another question is, okay, so if you do see yourself still being behind the chair, and maybe just doing some volunteer work, how do
Hmm.
you see yourself professionally in 5 years? Like, do you see yourself still in a studio? Do you see yourself going back to a salon? Do you see yourself, renting, commission, owning a salon? Like, what do you see in the professional side of
Sure. For me, I still feel like the studio setting where I'm at is where I'm comfortable right now. Um, the journey, you only heard part of my journey, but I've had some really bad experiences like I said, that led me to where I'm at, to where I'm comfortable where I'm at. Like, I know what I'm capable of doing. I'm responsible of taking care of my customers. I'm a clean person. My loft is very clean. I'm very adamant about that. And not to say that another salon wouldn't be, but after all of my experiences, I am just fine where I'm at right now,
it?
and thinking about that in years to come, that's where I still see myself.
Okay. And
Yeah.
how busy are you right now?
Um, Not busy enough
Okay.
after all of these years. So like I said, with my past, I got a little burnout. So I decided to go back to college for a
Mhm,
couple of years. I got my degree. And in the midst of that, I had to scale back my hours.
mhm,
And in the midst of that, lost some customers um, along the way because I was only there 3 nights a week, which wasn't enough to satisfy everyone's time and need. And on top of that, like these past couple of years, I've had clients that have moved away from the city. And so being in the loft style setting, it's harder for me to rebuild. Um, I'm not out there like I used to be when I was younger socially. Like I got married a few years ago. I'm comfortable being at home. I don't really care to be in the bar scene like I was, and just getting out there and generally like socializing. So that's another thing that I feel like I need to get myself back out there with. The type of women that I want in my chair, which are business women.
mhm,
Um, so I'm trying to attend some women's luncheons, things like that to connect me with other business women,
mhm,
to rebuild and to try and also talk to my current customers, to referring new people my way as well. Like I said, I mean, I've looked at my list of clients and I could name off at least 10 or 20 people that have moved from the city the past couple of years.
okay. Okay.
So yeah.
So how, I mean, based on like say 100 hours of work, how many hours would you say that you are busy? Would you like, 50, 60% or more or less?
No, I'd say around there, 50,
Okay.
60%. Yeah.
Some days it's probably, higher, some days it might be lower.
Yes.
Okay. So kind of what I hear you saying, and it's very common. It's funny because I said this in a podcast that I recorded yesterday as well. And there's a quote from a guy named Anthony Muscolo who used to be
Yeah.
one of the owners of Tony and Guy, and he always said
Uh-huh.
that hairdressers need every 7 years, not hairdressers but humans need to do
Yeah.
something different in their life. Um,
Mhm.
if it's within their career, within their relationship, within something, you need to constantly be doing something new every 7 years. And that's that
Mhm.
7 year itch. That's that 7 year itch that people talk about,
Yeah.
where relationships start kind of falling apart after 7 years. You need something
Yeah.
different in a relationship, you need something different in work. It's funny that you are having a rebranding conversation with yourself at 6 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
That's
perfect.
right. Yeah.
You're doing it perfect, and it's funny that you're starting to have a conversation with yourself about possibly, maybe doing something a little different, maybe doing some volunteer work, maybe doing all that kind of stuff, and it sounds like it's very normal. And I know that we. Especially our generation, because we're in the same generation, the Gen Xers, we have a tendency to beat ourselves up a lot. And
Yeah.
well, am I okay? Am I okay? Like, am I doing this all right? And my parents are getting older. Do I want to continue
Yeah.
going in this direction? Do I need to start going less for what I love to do and make more money, or do I need to like focus more on what I love to do and don't focus on the money so much? And it's like, we're always getting, and I don't think it's just us. I'm sure that there's other generations, but I can only really talk for my generation or our
Sure.
generation. So let's talk a little bit about the branding then. Um, I would say, in my consultations, I always ask a question. I'm going to ask you the same question, but I'm going to do it in, more of a business perspective. But in my consultations, the last question I always ask every client before I do a haircut is, suppose you're walking down the street, somebody drives by and sees you out of the corner of their eye. What do
Mhm.
you want your hair to say about you to them? So if you could wear your hair as a road sign, what's the one word on the sign that's going to say you? So I'm going to ask you the same question, but instead of your hair, when people think of you and they think of your business, what do you want that road sign to say? And I mean, what do you want the road sign to say? What do you want people to think about you from just like maybe even walking past your studio? Oh,
Yes.
she's a good hairdresser, or she's a good listener, or she's got good advice, or whatever. What do you want that to say about you?
Um, it's a classy, comfortable, because that's one thing a lot of my customers say about my loft is that I just love your loft. It's comfortable. Um, I've made it so it's luxury. Um, I just invested in a hair care line this past October, which was a huge investment for me. Um,
What hairline?
so what's that?
What hair care line?
Davaness.
Okay, okay.
I'm also Italian, and it kind of went in line with my heritage.
Yeah.
But I believe in the company anyway for a lot of things that it stands for.
Mhm,
But the education above all is top notch to me.
mhm.
But walking past my loft, definitely classy, comfortable, sexy, professional. Um, all of the things that I want my client to look like when they walk down the street, like a woman that's confident and like I said, and also with a little bit of sass and sexy, all of that. Definitely, I think that that's a feeling when you walk past and just look in my loft.
And
And, and
is that what your current brand is portraying, or would you say that it's not?
I would say 50-50.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I have some clients that have been with me for many years, and so with that comes aging and sorry.
Oh, it's fine. We're
I don't know
busy
if that
hairdressers.
works.
I get
Sorry.
it.
50-50 for sure. You know, um, I dabbled in a little bit of doing, just to stay with the trends and doing some green hair, blue hair, purple hair, whatever. And for me, I'm like, that's not what I want to do. I love it. I appreciate it about our industry, not me,
Hmm.
you know. Um, but if someone wants to be full on glam, then yes. But then I have the really conservative ones that just, this is how I want it. I don't want to change. Yeah, so 50-50
Okay.
clientele wise.
I'm looking at your Instagram right now, so if it looks like I'm looking
Hmm.
down, I am.
Okay.
Okay, so here's my thought is you already have your brand. You know what you want your brand to say. You don't necessarily know if you are saying it,
Yes.
right? And really sometimes the logo isn't a brand. The logo is just the logo. The brand
Yeah.
needs to be you, right?
Yeah.
You are the brand. I mean,
Yeah.
all of my brands are me, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Ryan Field,
Yeah.
RMFT, now I have this awesomer thing that I'm doing. I mean, and I just fall into them because all of my brands are really just a external representation of who I am.
Mhm.
From what I see from you right now, from what I see on your Instagram, I think that what you want your brand to be is very much you. So what
Yeah.
you need to do is, instead of worrying about logo, which I don't even think you were even thinking about that, but I mean that's just an example of what I'm saying, is instead of like the little tiny nuances like that, what you need to do now is you got to tell people what your brand is. You have to explain it and tell them over and over and over and over and over and over again, right?
Mhm.
When I lived in Portland, Oregon, my very first salon was about 20 minutes outside of downtown Portland. It was in a place called Milwaukee, Oregon. So we weren't even in Portland, Oregon. And my logo or my brand was, Capello Salon. It was the name of the salon, the coolest
Mhm.
salon in Portland. And everybody would come in, they're like, "You're not even in Portland." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." I mean, the whole thing was, we're so cool. There's nobody else cooler than us in Portland. We're cooler than everybody in Portland and in Milwaukee, right? And
Yeah.
that was definitely me, and people loved that, right? We put it on our
Yeah.
cards, we put it on our T-shirts, we put it on all that kind of stuff. I would always think of, like, my brand has always been kind of snotty. I had a shirt that said, "My hairdresser can kick your hairdresser's ass." I had one that said, "My hairdresser was in Vogue. What about yours?" Um, and um, what you have to do to get that brand out is you have to market yourself. Robert Cromines always says, "Market yourself like your mother would."
Oh, that's a
Y-
good one. Yeah.
Yeah. She's always talking about you and how special you are and how great you are and how all these things, and telling people at the country club and how great you do things and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
You got to do that, and you got to talk about yourself all the time. Now you're going to these networking meetings, which I think is fantastic, but how modern is that?
Right.
Like the physical networking stuff is good. I think that you need to do that. And that's something that I'm learning how to do now, living
Yeah.
in Kentucky and where I am in my own personal space, but I've never really been that great at it. I think
Yeah.
that what happened recently is, because of this right here,
Yeah.
we can communicate our brand better than we have ever been. Like when I first opened my first salon in '94, the only way that
Mhm.
I could communicate my brand to people was, via commercial advertising. So either on advertisements or
Yeah.
in the phone book, which, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even know the last time I even said the word phone book. Um,
Right. On
and
the radio. Yeah.
yeah, and that was so expensive, and
Yeah.
I didn't have a whole heck of a lot of money, so I would have to, like, figure out interesting ways to get on the radio or get on the TV. We had, weird things where we would have models sit on buses instead of, like, taking out advertisements on buses. We'd do their hair, and we'd pay them just to sit on a bus and ride the bus, back and forth and
That's
whatever.
great. Yeah.
Nowadays, because of this, we have, social media that um, is free or very near close to being free.
Mhm.
And I don't look at social media as a way of passing time anymore. It's not
Yeah.
amusing. Um, it's not a pastime. To
Yeah.
me, social media is now your marketing platform and your only marketing platform that you even need to worry about. Because I don't know about you, but I'm not going to be able to buy a 30-second spot at the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Right.
I could pay $30 a month on Instagram to do a spot
Mhm.
advertisement that's going to go out to people in a certain geography. You know,
Yeah.
so my whole thought is, you gotta start. You gotta tell your brand on social, right? And you gotta post more. I mean, I just looked at your
Okay.
Instagram. It looks fantastic. My whole thought with that though is I did exactly what everybody else is going to do on social. Is they went to your social media. They saw that, oh, okay, that first picture is pretty nice.
Yeah.
And then they scrolled 3 scrolls. I'm actually going to do it right now. So I looked at it. I went 1, 2, 3, done.
Okay.
I don't care anymore.
Okay.
Right. And it's not that it's bad hair, it's not good hair, any of that kind of stuff. It's just I don't have the attention span to go all the way down to the bottom, which oh no, I don't have the attention span to go all the way down to the bottom. And what you're
Yeah.
doing is you're doing that what I feel like a lot of people are doing on social, which is they're caring about what all of that looks like.
Yeah.
you know and if you look at some of my old stuff, I used to care about what all that looks like as well. I would have like the little tiny photos where you put them all together and they make like a big collage and all that, and
Yeah.
it would actually hinder me because I wasn't prepared to get it all in place, and so I wasn't able to post as much as I thought I needed to. So
Yeah.
I would just stop posting because I couldn't keep with the theme of my landing page. But
Yes.
nobody looks at landing pages anymore anyways. You know what I'm saying? So my whole thought
Yeah.
now is just post. Don't even worry what the last post you made is. Just post. And I feel like, the goal for me to post is I want to post 26 pieces of content between 7 different platforms
Mhm.
daily. And the reason why is, and I told this to somebody yesterday, the reason why is if you think of like that first time that you're that relationship when you first meet somebody brand new, and you guys kind of click, and you want to get closer with that person, you know
Mhm.
husband, wife, whatever, it doesn't matter. But like every morning they would text you, hello, good, gorgeous, or good morning, beautiful, blah 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 blah. And then a
Yeah.
couple of hours later, there'd be like a wave text, emoji, or a hi, or a smiley
Yeah.
face. It's because they're wanting to say in front of your face. They don't want you to forget about them.
Yeah.
We need to do the same thing with social. We need to constantly be in people's faces because they're going to forget about you.
Yeah.
So my recommendation is just up your social, focus on what that brand is, and then up your social and tell people constantly, I'm about, sexy hair and blah 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 blah. Well, now how do I create 26 pieces of social per day? Well, you
Mhm.
don't have to be on video like this. I'm great
Yeah.
in front of a camera. I hate being in front of a camera, but I also know that this is part of my personality. So, and I can't write. I mean, I'm super dyslexic, and I don't know the difference in theirs, or
Mhm.
wasn't or haven't or whatever. I don't know any of that stuff. And I really don't care. Right. I'm much better at talking. So I'm going to manipulate my one talent, which is being able to communicate verbally. Um,
Mhm.
your talent might be written, or your
It is.
talent might be a podcast, or your talent might be, whatever. So my whole thought is go towards your talent and use that on social media. It doesn't have to be video. Continue
Mm.
posting pictures of hair, which
Yeah.
is good. I would change it up a little bit. Don't make it look like everybody else's. Try and
Yeah.
figure out a way to make it stand out.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, one thing that I used to do for years was I turned all my photos sideways.
I noticed that.
Yeah,
I saw that.
I turned my photos sideways. The reason why is it would cause you to do this, which is
Yeah.
a wrist movement, and that means you can never forget me. And also, what would happen is scroll, 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 scroll. You're looking at all the same hair photos. Oh, that one's turned sideways. That's obviously Ryan, right?
Yeah.
So And it
Absolutely.
worked. It worked for
Yeah.
years, and I built my social media brand on turning everything sideways. But now my brand has nothing to do with hair so much anymore. My brand now is taking care of you, the hairdresser. So I am now communicating on a daily basis on how to make you take care of you, or how we can take care of each other as a whole. So that's
Yeah.
just working, right now in the macro of things, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
Now, how do you also create more content? Um, One of my mentors has always told me, don't create the content, document what you're doing.
Uh-huh.
So instead of going out and being like, I'm going to go create a video, or I'm going to go create a podcast, or I'm going to go create this or that or this or that, just document what you're already doing. Document your day. So like your day, you're working on, beautiful, women, and, office women, and professional women in their industries. Why
Yeah.
not get a little GoPro, or even your phone, and a little
Yeah.
tripod, and document you just doing their hair all day and talking to
Okay.
them? And maybe instead of video, maybe, well, shit, you even said that you're not that great on video. You don't want to do video necessarily. Okay, you have your phone. Right now, what I'm
Mhm.
doing, I don't know if you know this, I'm actually doing a podcast at the exact same time. So I'm going to do an audio podcast on my phone and a video podcast on my computer, and I'm killing two birds with one stone. How come you can't take out the blow dryer sound and take out the shampoo sound? You can almost turn a conversation with your client. Oh God, this is fucking brilliant. I'm just thinking about this as I'm talking. I mean, I wish I could do something. I'm very self-complimentary as well. No, you could almost gear a conversation to your client and just really work with them how you were you were talking that you almost wanted to coach them a little bit, and women in their lives and
Yeah.
whatnot. Why don't you
Yeah.
start doing that now on your phone when you're standing behind them at cutting hair?
Yeah. That's
I
a
mean,
great
that
idea.
to me sounds like I would want to listen to that in a podcast.
Yeah.
And it's like, like a therapist behind the chair.
Yeah.
you know
That's a great idea. As long as
totally, totally. That'll be 10 grand.
don't all hairdressers wish that we would get paid for the extra counsel?
Oh, totally. Totally. And see, the thing is, what's going to happen is you're going to start doing that. People are going to start liking it, and you're going to get it on Spotify. You're going to get it on all the different platforms, and now you're going to start monetizing on just your conversation that you would have had for free.
Yeah.
So now there's a whole nother, and you're still giving it away to people, but you're going to be getting back money because those platforms will pay you.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing that I've been telling people as well, just again, I have a mentor that has been preaching to me is don't forget, you're obviously right now the two big platforms that we're on is Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
But don't forget your other platforms, and I've got a Twitter. I hate my Twitter, but there are people that just consume on Twitter.
I'm with you on the whole Twitter thing as well. I kind of tend to it's just there. I have it. I don't really use it.
The two big ones that are coming is
Yeah.
uh, LinkedIn.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is Facebook 2012.
Okay.
So you remember how great Facebook was, and how your grandparents were just getting on it, and everybody was
Yeah.
getting on it and all that.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is exactly that, and you can actually build a organic fan base on LinkedIn like almost immediately, because they're trying to make a big run, so they're not doing all of the big sponsored advertisements like Facebook is. So you can
Okay.
actually build a really good community on LinkedIn, and especially it's always been known in the business community.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
so that might actually be a perfect one for you to start posting on LinkedIn, because that's going to be people in your community that you want to hit. The other one
Hmm.
is TikTok, but that's a hard one. I haven't been able to break into TikTok yet.
I made a dance video with my niece, so she had to tell me how to do it. Otherwise, I have it on my phone now, and I was trying to figure it out the other day, and I was like, "Where's my niece?"
I've been trying to figure it out for a hairdresser. I've been working on it a ton.
Yeah.
still kind of difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have
And
any
again,
other questions?
go go
Uh,
ahead.
did this kind of help you a little bit? This little
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
cool. Do
I
you have any?
mean,
Go ahead.
no, I mean, I can always take something from, you know, from someone who has, experience, and I've been following you for a while, and I always listen to your videos. There was a while there for a while when you were posting your highlights. I'm like, oh, let me just put on my makeup and before I go to work and listen to Ryan and get a little motivated today. And it helped. And I think
Oh,
we
good.
all could use that, Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
I
Thank you.
think you definitely have a gift in front of the camera, which is something that, I think you either have that or maybe over time I'll learn it. We'll see.
Or you learn to just stop hating it is what happens.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions for me?
Um, no, not really. I think you kind of summed a lot of things up that were, you know, running around in my mind that I just needed to hear from someone else, to 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 definitely get me out there, you
Okay.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
So,
think that like I said, social media is your marketing department.
mhm,
And if you can't afford an actual marketing department, then it's got to kind of lay on your shoulders.
right.
And I think that what's nice is that it doesn't have to break the bank,
Yeah.
but you have to put in sweat equity,
Yeah.
and that sweat equity sometimes gets frustrating.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely have been pretty comfortable where I'm at for a while, and like, I got to wake myself up.
Yeah.
So,
Well, good.
definitely.
Good. I think this went super well, and I actually got super jazzed. I kind of want to like steal that idea, but I don't have quite. I don't work behind the chair anymore. But I think that that's a fantastic idea. What I'd love to see is I'd love to see you actually do that, and as soon as you do launch your new podcast, I'd love to hear about it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That would be an ultimate goal to have for sure.
But just do it. That's the whole thing is that we get nervous about doing it. You just got to do it. And people are going to are going to make fun of you. And people are probably going to make fun of me for doing this thing. And to be honest, I don't really care. I mean, I just do it anyways, and somebody's going to love it and somebody's going to hate it. I can't really listen to either of them.
No, I definitely think what you're doing is a good thing because seasoned hairstylists as well as younger hairstylists, we can all learn from each other. When a lot of people our age will put down millennials, but there's a lot to be learned from them, but there's a lot they can learn from us.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm. And we're not
we all need each other. And we're not what?
we're not teaching
Yes.
them.
Well, I try, but that doesn't always mean they listen.
Hmm.
But, you know, um,
They learn
yeah,
differently than we did. They learn differently than we
yeah,
did. We didn't have
yeah,
YouTube. You know,
yeah,
that's a whole nother conversation that we could have
yeah,
again.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being on this. I really, really, really appreciate it. And if you ever have any questions whatsoever, I mean, I'm right here. I mean, you have my Instagram, you have my text. Um, please check in. You're not bugging me. I love this stuff. This is I think why I was put on this earth is to help out hairdressers, and I really, really, really
Yeah.
enjoy it. So, please, please, please keep in touch. I want to know how this works out for you with the
Thank you.
podcast.
I will. Thank
And
you
I'm
so
going to hold
much.
you accountable for that podcast. I'm going to actually check in.
Oh man, the pressure's on.
So there is actually like one thing that I found yesterday, because I'm actually going to put this up on a podcast right now. One thing that I found yesterday is a app that you get for your
Okay.
phone, and it's called Anchor,
Okay.
and it's super easy to podcast. You just record. You can even record it right in Anchor, and then it will just go ahead and it will upload to like 6 different podcast platforms. And the
Oh,
more you do it, they will pay you from Anchor, and
okay.
it's free for you to
Okay.
use.
All right.
So I
Thank
would
you.
do it like if you have clients today, start today.
Okay.
Fuck it. I mean, what else? Why not?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything to lose,
Exactly.
as long as they don't mind being recorded. So,
Yeah. And the only time that I think that anybody would have a problem being recorded is if they were telling something super, super, super personal.
yes.
But I think you can get voice changers. like an at voice
Oh,
movie. So you can
okay.
modify a voice, and so nobody would even know who it was. And that right
Okay.
there is like soap opera stuff. That's Grey's Anatomy kind of stuff, and I would watch that.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna download it as soon as we finish here and
Okay,
check it out.
well, thank you
Thank
so
you.
so so much, and like I said, please keep in touch, and let's do this again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your
Okay,
time.
okay, bye bye.
Bye.